Whatever you do, make sure you visit ashkicking.com for your home fragrance, health, and beauty needs, quality products at a great price. Use this promo code DBN317 for 10% off of your order.
Hi, I'm Dina, and you're watching DONTAE'S Boxing Nation.
Hey, what's going on? You know who it is. You know what it is. Town Biznezz on behalf of DONTAE'S Boxing Nation. I'm here with world-renowned trainer, boxing trainer Virgil Hunter. How you doing today, Virgil?
Doing good. Doing great. Good to see you.
How do you feel about the unfair backlash that Andre Ward received through the media? I mean, he was just attacked. I mean, they made it look like the fight was like some kind of blowout, and most people did not see it that way. I was at the fight, and I thought Andre Ward clearly won that fight. But how do you feel about the unfair backlash Andre Ward received and how he was attacked by just, various writers and certain people on, various social media, including YouTube?
There's a passage of scripture in the Bible that says, "Woe unto you if all men speak well of you." If all men speak well of you, it's not a good thing. Well, we expected that, so that's old news, you see. I mean, because big plans were upset with that fight, and to have your gold medalist, your last gold medalist, and put him in a situation where you want a foreign fighter to make his name off your gold medalist, it's just not a good look, But you know what? When you are articulate, when you stand up for yourself and what's right, when you stay true to your convictions, that's a new ball game for a lot of writers. It's a brand new ball game. They're more comfortable with being the smartest guy in the room. So, but if you look at it for what it is, he's exactly what boxing needs. If you're talking about bringing dignity, if you're talking about bringing a man to the sport, a role model and an example, don't look any further. But we know what we're up against, and that's what keeps us motivated. I wouldn't have it any other way, because it gives you motivation. You see, the problem today is that everybody has become an expert. I mean, you had people crying about that fight or complaining about that fight that just came out of their lane. If you're a reporter, report it. If you're a broadcaster, broadcast it. But to be a judge, you're not. And it's obvious that all three judges saw the same fight. Unfortunately, when you are a fan of a boxer, and I wrote and I did an interview about that, about the great Don Dunphy, saying what made him effective was he never was a fan. He said, "I knew some fighters better than others, but I never was a fan of any fighter, because if you are, you're only going to look at the fighter that you're a fan of." To give you a good example, look at the third round in that fight. We won that round, but they were so used to seeing Kovalev finish somebody he knocks down. That's what they were looking at and looking for. So they didn't even realize that he lost the third round. And if you look at it, I would challenge anybody to show me where he won it. So it's out there to, all due respect to Jim Lampley, and I mentioned it, to say he was hit by a big right hand, and the TV truck shows the replay and shows that he missed it by a wide margin. That ought to tell you to stay in your lane. You got one of the best seats in the house. So how did that land to you but to nobody else? So you shouldn't be calling. That should be enough for him or a person to look at themselves and say, you know what? Let me be quiet. Because I said the punch landed and shook him. Now I'm seeing it's missed by a mile. So it's obvious I need to just broadcast the fight and not try to judge it. You have Larry Merchant 8 rows back all of a sudden saying it was home cooking. We never fought in Vegas before.
I have to ask you about, and speaking of HBO, I just have to ask you about this. A lot of people felt like the broadcast, I saw the replay because I was at the fight. A lot of people complained that HBO was just too biased towards Sergey Kovalev. I mean, he got credit for everything, and Andre Ward got credit for nothing. And a lot of people complained about Jim Lampley being, too emotionally attached to certain fighters. So how do you feel about the overall broadcast? Do you feel like Andre Ward, a lot of the main reason why some people thought Andre Ward lost was because of the suspect bias broadcasting by the HBO team?
Well, I mean, going into the fight, that was quite obvious. I mean, when you would see Kovalev in the crowd, the sinister smile, this and that and that and the other, and, the almost, I'm not going to say worshiping, but, caught up in the Kovalev mystique, you see. And that's who they chose. So that's who they had their eye on. And again, if you have your eye on, it's like a father who has a son playing basketball complaining to the coach, why isn't my son playing on it at all? He's not looking at it through the coach's eyes, he's looking at it through his eyes. So he figures his son should be playing. When it's clearly that he shouldn't be starting, but he can come off the bench or whatever. He's not ready yet. But again, I want to emphasize that none of this falls on Peter Nelson. I believe Peter Nelson, if given a chance, could really make a big difference in HBO.
Okay.
He's young, he's got a vision, and I think that if they would allow him to maneuver, that he could change quite a bit in HBO. Sometimes you leave people intact too long, and we have to pay attention to that when you leave them intact too long. If you look at the great announcers, the Dunphys, even listening to Gil Clancy, Howard Cosell and things, they were able to call the fight like it was. Nobody cared about Ali as much as Cosell. But if he wasn't looking good, Cosell didn't bite his tongue. Or if he was looking good, Cosell would compliment him. So why it's like it is, I have no idea. But I'm glad it's like it is, because as long as he's fighting, when you've made your money, when you're in your early 30s and stuff, you have to have a reason to want to keep fighting at a high level. Talking about his career, if he retired, he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. You can't take that from him. He hasn't lost a fight since he's been 12. He's a gold medalist. So you can't take his career from him. He beat quite a few world champions. Absolutely. And guys who are bigger than him. So you can't take that away from him. So if the rematch goes forth, I like who I'm going in the ring with that night. And it's going to be devastating.